Hello everyone, welcome to the Global Biz Apps Weekend 2021, powered by D365 Champs. It's day 2 today and we hope you are doing well and keeping safe. I'm Preeti Pipalia, moderating this session along with Dipesh Somani. This session is presented by May Alhajri. May will be talking about how to build the UI in a Canvas app in Power Apps. A brief intro about May. She's a young and very creative computer engineer. She's the first female MVP business applications from Saudi Arabia. She has been an avid speaker and loves sharing knowledge. And trust me, she has a unique style of sharing her knowledge. Just check out her blog and you'll find it. It is interesting. Before I hand over the session to May, I would like to mention that if you have any queries, please feel free to drop it in the chat window. We'll take them either during the session, if possible, or during the Q&A time. Thank you again for joining and enjoy the session. May, over to you.
Thank you so much. So let me share my screen just a minute, and please let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Can you see now my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So first of all, thank you team for having me today. I'm super happy to be here today to share my knowledge with all of you. So before we start, let me give you a quick intro about myself. My name is May Alhajri. I'm from Saudi Arabia. I have been graduated with computer engineering bachelor degree. I have 5 years experience within oil and gas industry with different projects, and I started my journey as a power addict, and now I'm a Microsoft MVP as a first Saudi female. So I'm super active on different social medias account like Twitter, LinkedIn, like in a daily basis. Also, I have my own community on Meetup. I call it Sharing is Caring, which is every month I'm doing 4 to 8 sessions actually. And my main focus on Power Platform, and I'm learning a lot of tools now that we have it within Microsoft. So also I'm starting to share my knowledge in TikTok, Instagram, all these platform that we have it. So if you want to follow me or to check all my like infographics, all my sessions, everything, I'm gonna post the link within the chat, so feel free to follow me, and if you have any question you can ask me at any time. So what we will learn today actually we will learn on what's the UI, which is user interface. We will see what's the difference between user interface and user experience. Also, we will learn why do we need to learn about user interface and all this stuff, and we will do a live demo, like, and which is we can see the key components of the user interface. So let's start with the first one, which is what's user interface. So the UI, which is the shortcut for the user interface, and is the graphical layout of any application, and is the buttons that user they can click on it, and the text they read, maybe the images, or if you have like sliders or text entry, and all the rest of the item that the user can interact with. So all these items we can call it user interface. And this actually includes the screen layout, like if you are working with Power Apps or Power BI, if you have a different pages screen layout, we can call it user interface. So even the interface animations and every single micro interaction, it's a part of the user interface. So any sort of visual element, interaction, or animation must all be designed. And especially if you are working on a business application, you need to have a specific process that will help you to build your application in easiest way. And if you have like a pretty user interface, for sure the user they're gonna use it, especially if you have a pretty user interface plus a lot of function or a lot of value that the user they gonna get by using your application. So this is what's the user interface in easiest way. Now let me show you a screenshot that about different application or different main pages for different application that I built it so far. And I have more actually, but for the confidential data, I cannot add it here. So if we can see here, I have different screenshot for different style for different applications. For example, this application, it's like with the funky style, with like it's a place where I added all my videos there and all these thing. And for this one, actually, it's an icebreaker game that will help me to interact with my audience within all the workshop that I'm doing before. And for example, this application, it's a business application. And you can see like which one is a business application, which one is a funky application. And here we go. Also, we have this application. It's for a business application for the awards that we have it on like in a yearly within my company. And this one actually, it's also icebreaker game. And this one, it's a digital escape room. So why I'm showing here to you a different screenshots, or what's the purpose behind it actually, I just wanted to show you like for each application, you get the feel like this one, it's for something really funny. This one, it's for a game. This one, it's for a game. So user interface is something really important for any application that you are building, or any dashboard, or any tool, or any platform that you are working with. So it's the way that you are giving the feel to the user, like this application, it means about like a business application, or a game, or a digital escape room. So you need to make sure that you are selecting the correct elements while you are building your user interface. And by the way, you don't need to be an expert on user interface or how to build any application by using an advanced tools. You can build your user interface in easiest way, which is I'm going to show it to you today. So also let me show you this application. It's really a simple application, simple user interface that I built it. And all this design actually done by using PowerPoint. So you don't need to have an experience of using the expert, or the XD for the user interface, or any other tool that we have it. You can build your user interface by using a PowerPoint, or maybe you can build it by using a Word. So it depends. So also this application, it's a simple application. I just built the header with the button by using a PowerPoint, and I added to my application. So it's something really simple. You just need to be a creative in your own way. And while we are doing a live demo, I'm gonna show you a different way how you can build your user interface. So we know that we have UI and UX. So what's the difference between user interface and user experience? So as we know, user experience is the process of deciding how someone will use an application and creating a product. So it's during the UX process that any mobile application design ideas are generated and validated. So with an aim to make sure that all your choices are going to work, so that your app will work. User experience, it's like you are focusing on what kind of functionality, or how the user they're gonna use your application. It's not about the style, it's not about the animation, it's not about the colors of your application. It's about the functionality of your application. This is what we mean by user experience in easiest way. So user interface, I already mentioned it, but I'm gonna mention it again. Like it's the process of making the app look good, like more attractive. It's the during where you are working on the user interface process, and you can visualize your idea by building your user interface. And user interface actually, like maybe you can be your own design to your application, or if you have any designer within your organization, maybe you can get an advisor from them while you are working, or while you are building your application. So the user interface, it's like how you are giving the feel to the end user about your application. Like if it's a business application, if it's like a game, or any other type of the application that you are building. So the most important things that you need to remember about the user interface actually, it's you can work on on your user interface for your application, maybe before building the application, or maybe during building the application, or maybe even after building the user experience of your application. So there is no time for building your user interface, but while we'll do a live demo, I'm going to show you what kind of steps that you need to follow, or when should I build or focus on my user interface. And I'm going to show you the best practice that I'm following on all my application that I built before. So now let me show you why do we need to use like user interface and user experience for any application or anything that we are building. So the first step actually, or the first reason is like a great design provide your customers with the engaging the content and easy to navigate. So this will make your customer or your end user to satisfied with the services that your application will provide. And so when you build your user interface, and you will be able to make sure that your customer will be able to use your application in easiest way. And this is the main idea behind the user interface and user experience, to make your end user happy and to make sure that they're gonna use your application for long term. So this is the first reason. Second reason actually is, let me show it to you here. So before creating the user interface or user experience, actually, you have to understand the need of your end user or maybe customer or your clients. So by understanding what they are really need or what they are really want to have within your application will help you to make sure that you will not redo all the job again and again. So user interface and user experience will allows you to segment your audience, which is like to understand them more and to make sure that you will deliver the product that they are looking for. And for me, actually, while I'm building any application, before make my application live actually, or before building the application, the first step for me is thinking about the idea how I can automate it, and from there I can do the prototyping and wireframing, then build the user interface. User interface is like the designing of your prototype of your application, how that your application will look like by adding a colors, adding a background, adding an images. So as I mentioned, the second reason of focusing on user interface and user experience will help you to understand your audience, your end user, your customer. Third reason, actually, it will help you actually to build your brand. And this is what happened to me actually when I joined the community internally within my company and even externally. I started with my own style on building an application and dashboard. And for the first application, it was like about a specific topic that we have it within my company. And then I built another application. Then I built the third application. But I'm using the same style that I used to deal with it. And everyone now they start to recognize me because of my user interface, of my style that I have it on my dashboards, on my application. So it doesn't need that I need to put my logo on any application that I'm building now, or I don't need to put my name on any application that I'm building now, because based on my style, based on my own creativity, the people they start to know that this application built by me because they know my style now. I already built my brand by building my own user interface for any application that I'm building. So the third reason of really you need to focus on the user interface will help you to build your own brand, especially if you are like if you are having your own community, or if you are having your own organization. When you start to customize your user interface for any application or anything that you are building, it will help you to show the people this applications or all these products coming from XYZ organization or product line. So third reason actually why do we need to focus on the user interface or user experience more, actually will save the time and money. It means you don't need, for example, uh, to to have any user interface designers maybe within your organization, and maybe you will support them by learning by yourself on how to build or how to do the user interface for any application that you are having. And something, trust me, while you are building your user interface, something really fun, and you will enjoy it because it's a lot of colors, a lot of things. It's like your application, it means you need to publish it and to share it with others in your own way. So as I mentioned, it will save, you will save more time and more money actually by learning more about user interface and user experience. So let's move to the second part of our session today. So what's the key components of the user interface or user experience design? Let me show it to you in easiest way and explain it to you in easiest way. So there are some core components actually of the user experience design and user interface design also. The first one actually the information architecture. And what do we mean by information architecture actually? Or we can call it IA, is all about satisfying the business strategies by designing the applications, or maybe if you are working on the sites or different platforms. So it's like you are designing the structure. And the major rule of the information architecture actually is to provide the user an easy navigation and no matter which browser they are using. So for example, if I'm opening my Power Apps on my phone, and it will be the same thing that while I'm opening on my application on any browser. So this is what do we mean by information architecture. Actually, it's like designing the structure for any application or any site that you are working with. And actually, like it's like about using the maximum uh, items or components to provide the best and the top level navigation menu. So when you are building any application, the most important things, think about how to make your application easy to use for your customer or for the end user. The user actually, they don't like to use a complicated application, and it's normal for any person actually. For example, if we have like, why the people now they are using the WhatsApp for most of the communication, because it's something really easy to use actually, and it's like straightforward. You can go there, add a chat, send a message, and it's something really easy. So this is the first thing that you need to think about, how to make your application. It's something really easy to use. Second thing, actually, it's like interaction design. Interaction design, it's about creating the design with which the user interact with the product or maybe the application. And this interaction includes different elements such as like color, font, icons, images, motion, maybe sound if you want to add to your application, or graphics. Third reason, actually, it's usability, which is can be referred as the user, like how, as I mentioned, how the application will look like, how the people they can use your application in easiest way, and how they can figure how to use it from like how they can navigate from one page to another, especially if you are having a business application. You need to understand how to navigate from one page to another, or when they need to click on this button, or where the pop-up message is supposed to appear within the application. So this is what do you mean by usability for the application. And number four, actually, which is wireframing, and it's about creating a symbol of the application to test the features, the look, and the usability of the application before before launch the application. So this is what do we mean by wireframing. And all this actually, it's the way to test the functionality and evaluate if the application it serves the purpose. And that's what we mean. Also, visual design. Visual design actually it's how your application will look like and how you will visual your application, and especially if you are using like if your application is for the phone layout or a browse layout and all this stuff, you need to think about it. And for example, if you want to publish or to develop a phone layout application, the design will be the same for the desktop application, but you need to think about like the size of the icons, what kind of things that you need to add, and the images, the size of images would be different than the one that you are building for the phone layout. So you need to think about how you will visual the design to your end user. And last step, if you followed all these steps, actually you will be able to go and publish your application. So you need to focus on the IA, which is the information architecture of your application. Think about it, how your application will look like, interaction design for your application, also usability of your application, how they're gonna use it, how easy your application will be, wireframing, like you are building or you are testing the functionality for your application before you launch the actual application, how you will visualize it, which is here actually how you are building your user interface within this stage, and then you are ready to go. So as we see here, the user interface, it's like you can use it as a last element before you publish your application, because you need to think about the value, you need to think about what kind of functionality that I need to add, then the designing part will come to your application. So it doesn't matter like if you have a pretty user interface and you already build really a cool application, but at the end there is no value behind your application, no one will use it. So you need to think about how you can merge the user experience with the user interface and how you can add it within one product or one application. So now I'm gonna show you a quick example, and I will show you how I build it. It's something really easy, but the main idea behind the application that I will show it to you, let me try to open the portal just a minute. Okay, here we go. So I'm planning the scenario that we will work on it today. Like I'm planning to build an application for the Christmas gift, and I'm thinking to have a list, and within the list actually I have a specific people that I would like to add them to my list that this year that I'm gonna send them the Christmas gift. It's something really easy, but if you look at it, if you don't have any experience on user interface, you will think that I have a specific like advanced tool to use all these thing, or I'm using a specific license to build all this user interface. So to be honest with you, I'm using something really easy and something really easy to use, even if you don't have any user interface or user experience experience before. So before we start, let me give you two main things that you need to think about it before you build your user interface. So the first step, if you have the idea of your application, you have the wireframing of your application. And for example, what I mentioned here, like our example today is we need to build an application. It's like a simple application by using a Power Apps. It's about having a list for the Christmas gift and how we're gonna send to them through the application. So I already done with all the main steps that we have it for any application that we want to build. Now, on the stage that I need to think about the user interface and how my application will look like. Today, we will not focus about the functionality or how we gonna send the email or how we gonna run the application. No, actually today, our main purpose or our main focus will be on how to build the user interface in easiest way. So as a developer, or even as the one you are building the application, you have two ways. Either you can be creative by your own way and build your user interface in your own style, by your own style, and think about how you want your application will look like. But I'm gonna show you like what kind of things that you need to put it in your mind before building this user interface if you are following the first step by being a creative by your own way. Second step actually is you can get inspired by other user interface. And how we can do this? For example, actually before I did it on different application, for me actually I really like to use a lot of colors. So these colors actually I cannot use it on any business application because we have a standard within my company. So what I did, you can search about, there is a lot of online sources that there is 100 or more than 100 user interface for any application and different applications, and you can get inspired by them. And once you search, you can like search about how the application will look like. I'm not referring like you need to search on how to build it. No, search about any application that you want to build. For example, if I'm building an application for a Christmas, for example, which is the one that we have it here, you can search about Christmas gift maybe, and you can get inspired by different idea. And you don't need to follow one example. Actually, you can just search about different things, and from there maybe you end up by having your own style, but you get an idea, you get inspired by different idea. I'm gonna share with you actually here different tools that will help you if you want to build your user interface and if you want to learn more about them. So I'm gonna add it now to the chat, just a minute. And actually all these tools, it's like advanced tool, so maybe you can learn it later on. But as a beginner, I'm gonna show you today how you can build it in easiest way. So all these tools already posted within the chat, but now let us go back to our main topic today, which is how to build the user interface in easiest way. So for example, here I have two pages, okay? And if you look at it here, like I have a different images, I have a button, but how I build it, it's something really cool, right? And it's really attractive. So let me put it in run mode to show you. Simple but attractive. So what I did here actually, for me, we know that we have a lot of icons available within Power Apps and we can use it to navigate between maybe pages or to do some actions, which is here, the icons. But for the user interface, and especially if you are using something like for the gaming or for the Christmas or different topics, or maybe even for the business application, the user, they really like to see the images in like a high resolution. So the first step, think about the images think about the icons that you want to add to your application. And the most important things that you need to think about the topic that you are working on it. For example, our application today, it's about a Christmas. It means I cannot use like black color. It means I need to think about the colors that related to the topic that I'm building the application for it. So for example, here the Christmas, it means maybe I can use a green color. I can use a red color or maybe white or mix between red and green or brown, some or even yellow. But you need to stick with the colors that related to the topic. For example, if I'm talking about another application for like, let me tell you about, for example, escape room, or let's talk about a horror application for a movies, for example, a horror movies. So I need to make it with the black colors. I need to stick in the colors that will give the feeling about the user. Actually, this application, it's related to the Christmas. This application, it's related to a movies or YouTube or whatever that you want to build. So this is the most important things that you need to add it and to add it to your list before building the user interface. Number 4, which is you need to think about the icons. How can I get all these icons? From where? Actually, there is a lot of online sources that available without any cost. Actually, you can go there and install it. Let me show you from where I get all these cool icons actually and images actually. So I'm gonna share the link with you within the chat and I'm gonna open it now to show you. Actually, I get all the images today for our application from this site. And just a minute, sorry. And actually, I'm gonna add it now to the chat, so feel free to go there and download whatever you want. And we have another website actually with a lot of cool icons, a lot of cool images that you can add it to your application. So the most important thing that when you build your application, make sure to add a high resolution pictures. And the most important thing is that make sure it's like PNG, especially if you are having your own background. Most of the people actually, which is I really hate to see it within the application, they are adding, for example, let me go back to the application. For example, they are using this image with white background and I have my own background. So make sure to use PNG pictures if you have your own background or if the background does not match your own background. For example, here my background is this color. So I cannot use this image with a white background. It will look ugly actually and it doesn't make sense and the user will feel like it's like an image. But when you add it as a PNG, it's feel like it's a part of the background. So I think you get my point, what I'm referring here. It's like make sure to use PNG, not the picture with a background different than your application's background. So this is the fourth point that I need to highlight it here. But now how I build this page or what kind of things that I'm using here. For me, I'm looking for a simple application, which is the main page will be a quick message, and it's like for the user, they can get ready for the list. And once they click on the button, they can navigate to another page. Something really simple, but I want to make my application really attractive. The first step, actually, what I did here, actually, I add the background color. After I select the images that I want to add it to my application, I add this background actually, and you have two ways. Either you can build your own and customize your own background and add it here within here, like from there, and upload it to your application. Or if you don't want to use a background, you just need to add a color. For example, here, why I'm not using or customize any background, you know why? Because I'm using different images here. And if I'm adding another like a Christmas background, it will be too much and my application will look like a lot of pictures, a lot of things. The user will be get distracted by a lot of images. So try to make it simple, not that much of pictures, not that much of colors, but make sure to select the correct color that fit your topic and the correct images, but make it simple. And that's why all my applications actually attractive because it's simple, but the pictures that I'm adding to my application, it's attractive. So make it simple but attractive. This is the really advice for you if you are really interested to build an attractive user interface. So first step, I added here the background with the color that not the same of this color, which is here, that we have it with the red color. I make it like more lighter actually and more light the one that we have it here. And why actually I'm doing this, the main idea to make it like when the user, they open the application, and let me show you actually, let's try to change the color and you will be able to see when we make it like similar to this picture, or let me add it here. The feeling will be different totally actually, and it will be too much. For me, as an end user, it's really too much. And when I open it, it's like this color, it's similar to this one, and it will be a lot of distraction for the user. So that's why you can make the color or the background color like more light, but different than the background or different than pictures that you are using. I hope that I'm using, so let me go back and use the one that we have it. Sometimes actually within your applications or within your dashboard, you don't want to use all these colors. You have your own customization. And how you can customize your background by using this one here. And if either you can select the color from here, or if you are familiar with the hexadecimal numbers, actually, there is a lot of online sources that will help you to get for example, if I have this image and I would like to get the same color of this one to add it to my application. And within Power Apps, we don't have the functionality of the background that you can pick the color from pictures. And what I'm doing actually for all my application, I'm trying to add my picture on a free online sources, and from there I can get the hexadecimal number and just copy and paste there. So just search about a free hexadecimal or get a color as a hexadecimal from an image, and you just need to upload your image there and you can get the hexadecimal number. This is really a good trick for you, especially if you want to get the same color of your images that you are adding to your application. So first, I put the background color and I make sure that it's not the same of any pictures that I have it here because it will be too much to the end user. Second step, I have been added different pictures, and it's up to you how you want to add the pictures or how you want to add. For example, I can add 2 pictures, maybe 1 picture, or what I can do here, actually, I can remove 2 pictures and change the style. We're going to change it. I'm going to show you how you can change in easiest way. So here, I uploaded the pictures from the free online sources, and if you don't want to use a free online sources and you already have a time to build your own pictures, and sometimes actually I'm doing this because I really like to build my own pictures and design my own pictures, you can design your own by using either the advanced tool that we have it, such as XD tools or other tools, or you can use the easiest tool, which is PowerPoint. and you can customize your pictures or logo if you want, and a lot of stuff. So this is really important for you. Either you can use a free pictures or you can customize and build your own pictures. And number three, for any user interface, you need to add your logo, or you need to add the logo of your application or the name of your application. Here actually, I'm using a text which is, I call my application, the name of my application, Christmas Gifts. So I have two options. Either I need to build a logo or create a logo and add it to my application. And actually for all my applications that I'm building to my company, I'm building the logo and add it to the application because it's like a professional applications. Even for the games that I'm building, I really like to customize the logos and add it there. But sometimes if you don't have time and you are not expert, or you don't have really a time to build a logo, sometimes for me actually I'm spending 20 to 30 minutes to think about how the logo will look like. It's not about how to build the logo or how to create the logo. It's how my logo will look like. And maybe you don't have 30 minutes to do it. So how can I do it in easiest way? You can add here like a label, okay, which is the one that we have it here. And let me copy the text, just add the text. But I cannot add it similar to this one. Let me change the font. Sorry. I'm gonna change the font size to this one, 44, okay? First of all, you need to make sure to think about the font of the size of the logo or the name of your application. Don't make it small and don't make it similar to this one because it's like a normal text. So as an end user, I will not be able to recognize this one as a name of my application. So for example, if I'm using for the text like, for example, here I'm using 26 or 30. The logo or the name of my application should be different. The font size should be different than any text that I have it on my application. Second thing, after the font and after adding the label, you need to think about the font type. And for this one, actually, it's really ugly. I don't like to use it on the name of my application. Make it attractive. And the font size here, I know within Power Apps, we have a limitation with the font size. That's why sometimes I build my own logo and add it as a pictures actually within my application. But as I mentioned, if you don't have time, you can use something that we have it here. And for example, I can use this one. And you can change, for example, I would like to make it bold because it's the name of the application. Change the alignment. Make sure to add it in the middle actually. And here we go. So changing the font of your size, changing the font of your text actually, changing the style, changing the color even actually will help you to make your user interface more attractive to the user. So now if I return it back as a normal text, for example, this one, even this one actually, I don't prefer to use it to this application. So I wanted to give the feeling to the user, this application is for the Christmas. It's not only about the pictures, even about the title or the logo that I'm gonna use. So here we go. Now, for example, I want to add some message to the user when they open the application. So how can I do it? I don't want to add the message within the same background. It will give the feeling to the user it's like a normal application and it's like there is no creativity. So basically what I did here, I put the message by using a label within Power Apps. But for the background, I try to use like a white background because here I have a white, or maybe you can change the color to a light gray. It's up to you at the end or how your application will look like. But I prefer to use a white color. And what I did here actually, as I mentioned, we have a lot of cool icons here. So sometimes you don't need to add like a rectangle images from your desktop to your application, because at the end you need to think about how many images do I need to add to my application, because there is a limitation adding pictures to your application and it will impact the size. So try to add like just the main pictures, and the rest you can create it by your own within your application. For example, for this one, this background or this one. How I add it to my application? It's a rectangle here, and it's under icons. From there, let me show you what you can do. Sometimes actually I'm using this stuff to add it as a background, sometimes to change, or for example, if I want to do some creativity things, I'm using all this cool stuff, the circle, the rectangle, and all these things. So what I just add it here, and from there I change the background color. And if you want to have a border, you can add it. I don't really suggest to use a border here because I it's not like a message or a pop-up message. I'm using a border actually if I'm having a pop-up message to give the feeling to the user, see this actually it's a pop-up message and you need to close it or something. But here I want to give a feeling to the user. It's like it's a window within the background. It's like it's a part of the background, but in fact it's not part of the background. Then I want the user to navigate to another page. And as I mentioned, it's really important to understand how to use the buttons and how to add the buttons in a right way. For example, here, this is the button. And for any user, when they open the application, they will have a feeling that they need to click here because it's the feeling of the button. And for the button, you have two options. Either you can use the buttons that we have it here, which is the one that's built in Power Apps, or you can add your own pictures or from the free icons, the website that we have, there is a lot of button available and you can customize it and you can add a label there. But for the functionality, it's supposed to be the same. So you can use, I really suggest for you to use the button that we have it within Power Apps because as I mentioned, try to use only the most important pictures. And from there, actually, you can change the color, you can change the border. And for example, here, for example, how I build this one actually by default, you will be able to get this one. So you can change the color, you can change the font. And for example, the border, sometimes it's become like with a blue, you need to make sure it's the same border or the same color that you are having within your button. And the most important things, let me show you, which is I really don't like to see it within any application. When the user click on it, by default, it will be a blue color. So what I really suggest for you, change it with the same design that you have it. For example, either you can change it to a yellow or maybe to a white color when they put their mouse or they navigate to any other pages. So how can I do this? It's easy. Within Power Apps, you can go there. And from there, you can see, for example, here we go. And for me, either if you have the RGBA number, you can add it there, or what you can do, you just need to go there and select the color. For example, I can select white color or a gray color. But if I select white, I need to make sure the color here, it's not white. Why? Because actually, look at it now. I changed the background from blue to white. But in fact, when I click on it, I am not able to see the text. So I don't want it to have this feeling. So how can I do this? How can I change the color from here? And I will make it a gray color. And now it makes sense, right? So maybe for you before, while you are building an application, you didn't notice that for each control or for each items that we have it within Power Apps, you have a full functionality to customize it in your own way, and which is from here. It's like a simple things, or it's like not of most of the people they recognize it or they care about it, but something will really impact your application, especially if you are publishing your application for more than 1K users or employees. It's really something will matter. So that's why you can add your buttons, you can customize all this stuff by your own within your application and by using Power Apps actually. So here actually I just used the pictures from a free site downloaded to my application, but for the rest, for the logo here or for the name of my application, I'm using a label. I'm using a label here. I'm using an icons under rectangle actually here. I'm using a button. But how I build it or how I add it, this is the thing that you can make your application attractive and something really easy. As I mentioned, you can get inspired by another user interface from the online sources, or you can be creative by your own way. Second, pages, which is when the user click on let's start, they will be able to see a gallery which is the control that we have it in Power Apps. In case if you don't know, the galleries will help you to show the list of the people, maybe pictures or whatever you are having in your data source, you will be able to see it within gallery. So you can search more about gallery and learn more about it. So the second one, actually, what I did, make sure to use the same background for all your pages. So don't try to add here one background, for example, here yellow and second page with the black color. No, actually, try to use the same background style for all your pages. Okay, this is really important because it's an application. It's not different application. It's one platform or one application. Because when you change the background, you are giving a feeling to the user. It's like a pop-up message or it's different applications, even if you are talking about the same topic. So try to use the same colors that you are using for all the pages. So here what I did, I want to show the people the list in easiest way, and what they need to do, actually, they just need to click on it and check and save it. So let me show you here what they can do. For example, they can click, and once they click, they can save it. It's something really simple but attractive, actually, and I'm giving a feeling to the user how to it's the gallery, but in different way. How I build it, actually, it's something really easy. And what I did basically here, I add the name of Santa's list here. Actually, I'm using the same font size that I have it here. This is really important to try to use the same font size for all your pages, the same color, the same size, the same type of the font. This is really important actually for the user interface. So from there, I have the background. I added here one image to make feeling to the user it's like a Santa, and this is a list for the Santa. And from there, what I did basically, I added the gallery, and you can add the gallery from your application from here, and you can select the design. For example, because it's a phone layout, so I'm trying to make it vertical, not horizontal, because it's a phone layout, and it will be much easier to the user. And from there, I added like the checkbox actually from the controls that we have it there, the input, something really easy. Don't worry about the functionality, just think about the user interface and how the look and how you can add it to your application. And from there, I added the button. And the most important things here, try to use the same style of the button that you have it for all pages. If you look at here, it's the same thing, the same font size, the same style. And from there, I added this picture, and I added also this one from the icons, and that's it. It's something really simple, easy to use, and there is not that much of work actually. And if we look at it here, it's 2 pages, but it's really attractive. So what I really suggest for you, if you are building any application, try to think after you get the idea from your team or what kind of application that you want to build. Think about how the application will look like. And what I really suggest for you, try to use the simple pictures, high resolution pictures, attractive font size. And if you don't have any idea how to build a logo to your application, you can build it by your own by using a label actually. But it's in fact, it's just a text, but the feeling of the user when they open the application, it's like, oh, this is nice logo, but it's not a logo in fact. So be creative by your own way. And the most important things, love what you do, because when you love what you do, you can give the feeling of the user they really will like your application. And that's why I have vibes on my application, because while I cannot build any application while I'm angry or I'm in a bad mood, because I cannot be creative, and this is my character actually. And as I mentioned, if you don't have any idea on the user interface, search on the Google about any other user interface and get inspired and try to duplicate it actually as a first start for you for any application. And from there, you will be able to think outside of the box. So this is what I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed. And if you have any question, reach me out on any social media account. And thank you so much for having me today. I really enjoy it.
Thank you for your wonderful session.
Thank
There
you.
are a few queries. Preeti, if you want to take them up one by one.
Yes. Yeah. So there is one, not a query, rather a different point of opinion or an opinion from Bipin. He says that to make your Canvas app consistent is to create a settings page and define variable for color and other properties. Use this variable for your controls. So if you do this, the benefit you will get is when you get a requirement from business to change the color of your app control, you need to change in settings page variable only, and it will be applied to all the controls, which will reduce the maintenance effort.
Exactly. And also, what I really suggest, for example, sometimes it's happened to me when I build an application and the end user, when they come to me and they told me it changed the whole template. And I have maybe 5 pages. It's something really too much for me. So what I did actually, there is a trick in I actually I read it on specific articles or website that will help you. For example, within one page, if I have more than 5 buttons and I would like to change the color, there is a trick that you can like control and select all the button and change it at the same time. I'm gonna search about the link and share it with you later on. But what I mentioned about the performance and the maintenance, actually, try to make your application simple. That's why when you want to change anything and once you publish your application, you will not you will not have any performance issues and not a lot of pictures. Make it simple by using the components that we have it within Power Apps, that like icons, controls, and all this stuff.
Correct, correct. Another thing from Bipin is what is your recommendation on creating wireframes for Canvas app? Should we create wireframe in Canvas app and get it approved from the business users, or use any other tool to do that?
So for me, actually, to build wireframing, actually, as I have an idea on how to build user interface and user experience, I'm using XD tool. But for you, if you are a beginner, what I really suggest for you, you can build your own wireframing by using a PowerPoint, actually. And it's something really easy to build. Just think about how your application will look like and the wireframing and add it there. There is a lot of things that you can build by using a PowerPoint actually. And I did it before with different application. But if you want to learn more, there is another tools, which is XD tool, that they have their own templates. You can build your own template and you can even save it, navigate between the pages. It's really cool tool that you can learn from actually. I hope that I answered the question.
Seems like yes. So Bipin, if you have any more queries, or if it hasn't addressed your query, you may unmute yourself and ask yourself. Other than this, I believe, May, you have shown us the possibilities, importance, some tips, and really great advices on creating a really good UI Canvas apps. And sometimes, as backend developers, we somehow miss out on these things. And these are really quick and easy tips to follow. So we
Thank you.
can also
Thank you.
make good UI wise Canvas apps.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
A,
so
ra-
much. I really enjoy it. Thank you, team.
a round of we have a good core concept in Teams for called as we can give some responses back, right? So just because it was so visually appealing a session, we can maybe spend some thumbs up or we can share some hearts if you really like this particular session visually, right?
Yes,
Thank you, May,
and we
for
have been
Thank
doing
you.
throughout the session.
Thank
thank
you.
you
Thank you
for
so much. Thank you. Have a nice
thank you
day.
for your time today. It's quite early there in the on your Sunday morning, and I
Yeah.
believe in that part of the world, start of the week as well, right? So
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
So
it's the
thank you
first
for
day of our
dedicating.
week. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
Thank
you
you,
for
team.
dedicating this time for community. Would wish to invite you to many more sessions and share whatever new UI stuff you learn on Canvas website.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, team.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.